There's a lot of practical advice I can give. In terms of the religious sense, I would say you need to live like God is always watching. You may have the opportunity to do something bad, or you may have the opportunity to steal some money or snake somebody, but in the end, you're going to pay for that, and the bill will be paid. In my experience, if you're a person who does the right thing, firm handshake, is on time, doesn't lie to anybody, does what he's supposed to do, is honest with a good heart, is genuinely polite to everyone he meets, if you are that person, you get very far in life. I've yet to meet people who just do all the simple things right, who completely fail at life. But I've met a lot of people who snake or steal some money and they get really rich, then they lose it all, or they get rich and end up a gambling addict or depressed or etc. Understand that God is always watching. He's going to reward you in the end. That's the first thing. And the second thing I will say is that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and you need to curate your reality. I think the biggest problem with young people today is that they don't curate their realities heavily enough. The people that they want to spend most time with aren't adding any value to their lives.
Andrew Tate takes us into the world of fierce competition and relentless pursuit. He asserts that excuses like sadness or fear are not acceptable in the race to the top. Tate emphasizes that masculinity is about doing what needs to be done, regardless of personal feelings. Let's dive into his controversial perspective on what it takes to succeed in today's cutthroat environment. In Tate's view, what is the true measure of a man? A. His ability to express emotions. B. His success in wealth and status. C. His willingness to act despite his feelings. How does Tate define the essence of being a successful man? A. Following societal norms. B. Pursuing personal happiness. C. Performing duties irrespective of personal emotions. In this segment, Andrew Tate speaks on the necessity of embracing hardship to mold oneself into a formidable man. He suggests that trauma and struggle are not setbacks, but rather stepping stones to greatness. Let's explore his bold stance on how facing adversity is key to a man's transformation.
The world is hyper-competitive. If you're going to be a man who's going to sit and say, I'm just sad, you are always going to lose in competition to men like me. And there has to be losers for there to be winners. I am tired of sympathy. Sympathy doesn't work for anybody. I'm not going to sit here and be sympathetic for people who say they're too sad to try hard and be their best. Guess what? Perhaps I was sad every time I did exactly what I was supposed to do and trained anyway. Perhaps I was afraid when I fought anyway. Perhaps I was tired when I worked anyway. This is how you get ahead in life. I don't have a fucking ounce of sympathy for these people who sit here and say, well, I feel this way, so I can't. Then don't do it. Stay down there. The winners are at the top, and the winners at the top don't give a shit about how they feel. We wake up and we perform regardless of how we feel day after day. So if I'm going to ignore my own feelings, I'm certainly not going to take into consideration anybody else's. Why am I going to ignore how I feel and make sure I'm constantly performing regardless, flawlessly, and then sit and go, oh, but he doesn't feel good, so he's allowed to fuck up. No, you are not. You're not allowed to fuck up to your ancestors or to God or to yourself. You have to perform. This is what being a man is about. The baseline of masculinity is doing things you don't feel like doing. I can't comment on being a woman because I'm not one, but the baseline of masculinity as a whole is the thing that makes a good man a man is that he does what he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to work and he works anyway. He doesn't want to go to war and he fights anyway. He doesn't want to get up, he gets up anyway. That's the whole point of it. We didn't want to die in the Titanic. Guess what happened? We died in the Titanic. You can't sit there as a man and say you don't feel like it. You're not allowed to not feel like it. You're supposed to do it anyway, regardless. So when a man sits there and says, oh, but you don't understand, I'm struggling with motivation. If you are struggling with the motivation to be a winner, then stay a loser. No problem. Stay a loser. Don't care. Because in my circle, there's no losers around me. Your energy is disgusting. I find it revolting. I don't like weakness around me, even near me. Even people coming up saying hello to me. If you're depressed, don't even shake my hand. I do not have time for losers on any regard. Winners only.
The Matrix in and of itself is trying to make, especially men, the majority of them, invisible tax slaves. They want you to sit there, be invisible, not matter, not have an opinion. And we're out here to try and show you that there is another way. And yes, bad comes with the good. There's no light without dark, but God is the best of planners. And every single time he puts you through something difficult, if your mind is prepared, if you are ready to learn lessons and adapt, you're going to become a more formidable competitor. And that's extremely important.
According to Tate, what is essential for a man's growth? A. A life of comfort and ease. B. Experiencing and overcoming trauma. C. Wealth and social status. How does Tate view the role of personal hardships in a man's life? A. As obstacles to be avoided. B. As opportunities for transformation. C. As irrelevant factors in achieving success.
bad things that are happening to you are what you need to become the man that you want to be. I can't talk about women because I'm not one. I actually think trauma is terrible for women because it masculinizes them. They become cold, and that's not attractive, right? We want feminine, pure, protected women. I don't want a woman to ever go through anything bad in her life. I think a man should go through it for her and protect her, because I think that's how she's her best self as a woman. But I think to be your best self as a man is the absolute opposite. And when someone emails me and says, "This has happened to me," I'm like, good. No, what do you mean good? It's terrible. How else are you going to become important? How else are you going to find endless fire to get up and struggle in the face of the competition that's out here in the world? You're going to do all that with a nice, cushy life? If any man's honest with himself, think about the biggest transformative stages in your life. Think about the times you got the most work done. It was a bad part of your life. You were heartbroken, or you lost a house, or broke, or whatever. That's when you did shit. When everything was fine, when the woman's still sucking dick, the mortgage is paid, dinner's on time, it's kind of doop-de-doop-de-doo, little by little, do a little bit of work, do a little bit of relax. But the big events come from trauma. This is it. So it's a cheat code. It's a cheat code to climb the mountain. So when I get a message from whoever and he goes, "My wife left me, I'm devastated," I say, I understand. I completely understand how hard it can be to lose a woman that you've given your entire life to. And you've done so many nice things. And then because of one thing you did, her innate and absolutely insane level of ungratefulness has turned her bitter, and she now talks to you like she hates you over one thing you've done after thousands of efforts showing how dedicated you are to her. And even now that you're prepared to die for her, she doesn't give a shit about you. I understand that pain. But my answer is good. It's still good. Now take all of that pain, and instead of emailing me, do this.
Today's journey through Andrew Tate's perspective might have challenged your beliefs. His words serve as a catalyst for self-reflection and action. Share your answers to the riddles and your thoughts in the comments. Remember, it's not just about watching, it's about evolving. Hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for our next deep dive into the world of self-improvement.